And now we move on to tutorial number 3, still within the Reconnaissance stage of our journey, and the next log in the Reconnaissance stage is the log that we call Vehicle. Now, this quadrant is, sadly, what too many people believe is the whole of their business. And of course it is vital to success, but it's also absolutely vital that you don't regard it as the only dimension of that success. Take a look at this example of a vehicle log, and this time, as it's not a particular location, unlike destination, there's no need for coordinates, so it's only a series of elements down the left-hand margin. But again, as before, the sequence of these elements is very, very important. So for this first time round, entries, as we keep reiterating, are just as you know the information today. And if it's I don't know, I'm not sure, that's the right answer. Take a look as I walk you through each of the workings of the elements in Vehicle. As mentioned, your Reconnaissance logbook explains the logic behind the structure and sequence of the elements of this log, so I'll go straight into the entries as they are related to my particular business, my startup business. The first element is product, and the key here is to be concise, complete, and as clear as you can. So bullet statements are fine to start you off. Now, you're certain to return to this a number of times during your program, so for now I've simply made 3 short statements that express the nature of the range of services that are to be offered by my business. Your business model is one of the more pivotal aspects of your business. During your Success in 80 Days program, you're regularly visiting this element, and here our task is to present how your business executes its product proposition, if you like, or goes about its business. And that really is the essence of what the business model is. How does your business go about its conduct? Again, keep the entry simple. It can be amended and become more comprehensive very shortly. Next up is the price points, and these reflect the charging structure of your product range. If you only have one product, you could have different pricing for quantity or rental versus purchase and so on. With a range of products, your price points can be a part of marketing strategies, as well as simply charging for products and services. In the example log here, I've included a price point of free, as this is indeed part of a marketing strategy. Also, I have price points for purchase and monthly services. And this is followed by cost of goods, which I think is fairly self-explanatory. This is what it costs your business to put the product in the hands of your customers. However, it does not include the overheads and expenses related to the running of your business. In my example, these costs include manufacture, for example, printing and publishing in my particular business. Plus, they include the cost of storage, and in my example, data center hosting, plus the costs related to retail outlets or venues in my example. And then next up we have the cost of sales. An alternative term that I like to use is cost of customer acquisition or cost of customer recruitment. The reasons for this will become clearer as you work through your program. Here, as one of my chosen sales channel will be via resellers, they will be bearing the cost of recruiting customers. But this is balanced by my cost of sales, their reseller margin if you like. The other sales strategies are direct and therefore show my estimated customer recruitment costs on the first pass that I'm making through this log. You should by now have enough information as well for at least an estimate of what your gross margin will be. Again, as you progress through your program, you will be backtracking and updating your Reconnaissance information. So making certain that your gross margin, preferably by product, includes all factors. And this is vital, because if your margin is insufficient, your overheads then become a concern, because your overheads is going to come out of your gross margin. As an aside, whenever I look at a turnaround project, apart from first protecting cash flow, which is in fact coming up next for us, I focus on the business model, the margin, and then the market. As a first pass, in my entries, I've estimated that my margins are around 60% across the range. And of course, I'll be regularly backtracking on this information, updating it based on actual data from the operations of my business. Now, sitting right at the center of your vehicle log, and also right at the center of your company, is cash. And cash flow represents all the cash in and out of the business. The availability of cash as working capital can also be referred to as liquidity, essentially coming from the sales margin, loans or investment. Bear in mind that margin and investment are wholly available, but loans are only temporarily available, and their repayments and the interest upon them also have to feature negatively in cash flow. Now, if you have an accountant or bookkeeper, have them draw up a cash flow projection. If they don't have that skill, I suggest you replace your bookkeeper or accountant. Now, if you don't have an accountant, there are cash flow spreadsheets available as part of most decent accounting systems, most of which are relatively inexpensive these days, certainly less expensive than the experience of a cash hole. We also have a simple cash flow spreadsheet for you to download from our website. Here you'll notice that my cash flow forecast has been discounted by 20%. Simply, I'm being conservative here to cater for returns and non-payers. And as before, I'll be continuously coming back and keeping those figures pertinent and up to date. Then my sales channels, these are the strategies you adopt to reach your target marketplace and execute the sales transactions. Some businesses place only classified advertisements as a sales strategy. Others have a full-time sales force. Others still sell through physical outlets. Here, I market directly via online systems and also a number of resellers. Then distribution, including any warehousing or storage costs, is next, and distribution actually reduces your margin. So here you write how you get your product into the hands of your customers. In terms of keeping down your overheads on customer service and returns, etc., this function has to be conducted effectively and efficiently. I've outlined here a number of methods employed relative to the sales channels, and I'll come back and update these with true costs as my business progresses. And then service, well, now this actually relates to any post-sales product support that you're committed to providing to the customer. Sometimes service can actually be a secondary product as well as an essential item of the initial sale. In other words, it can either be a cost of sale or a revenue earner. I have an instance of both, and again we'll update my entries with actual costs later on. Unlike service, customer care is not product related. It's more appropriate as a cost of sale. It covers those aspects of the customer relationship without which the sale is at risk. Customer care occurs pre and also post sale and is generally assumed to be in place by the customer rather than paid for, as could be the case in a service program. I've identified how my business tackles customer care and the approximate drain on margin as a cost of sales item. So hopefully you're now getting some idea of the huge importance in the foundational stage of reconnaissance, where we orientate the state of our business now. I think you can agree that just blithely saying, not sure where we're headed, don't know how much about our vehicle, but hey, let's get on with life. Well, this isn't the wisest approach to one of the most challenging journeys there are, which is the business journey that you're trying to embark upon with your own business. Sadly, it's amazing how many do attempt to grow a business using this blasé, seat-of-the-pants methodology, and in doing so, putting at risk their savings, their home, and their health, and in fact their whole peace of mind. So next up in the tutorials will be territory.